to keep their job.
Can we meet you behind the building later and tell you what we've
Well, I think I've worked for him longer than anybody, and I will say he's not an asshole, but he has made an art form of being passive-aggressive.
Because the way I grew up, the way I relate to Phineas, because I have a lot of anger, I have a temper, and I used to really get angry when I had a bad temper when I was a kid. Sure. And what I did is I grew up in a family very unlike yours where we weren't supposed to express negative things. Catholic, we're not supposed to express, and no one was around saying, well, how do you feel about what just happened? There's none of that. So there was nobody expressing any of that. So what happened was there's a lot of pent-up anger, and what I learned is you could express anger in this. I could let it out like a teapot. There's a little hole that it's coming out, but it's shooting out at great force, and it's passive aggression. It's me saying, oh, well, that sounds like a wonderful idea. And people are like, fuck. And I mastered this thing of being able to talk to somebody for a bit who I was really mad at, and we had a pleasant conversation, and then I'd leave, and they'd think, I think we had a pleasant conversation. Oh my God, I'm bleeding. He stabbed me with words 9 times, but I didn't feel it. So it's an issue, it's an issue that I have to work on. But I don't think you can have creativity without some
internal rage.
You have to have. I think that's one of the things that has been...
you have to be a little tortured. That's what I think.
Yeah. There's some great quote, and I'm misquoting it, but it was like, a lot of the world's great work has been done by people who didn't feel quite well. It's like...
It's true.
I think the caveat there is that it's this slog and it's this challenge, and then sometimes it's effortless for 2 hours. Does that?
Yes.
So like, we had that yesterday. We've been slogging through writing for months. And yesterday we had a couple hours where the faucet was on. It was really easy.
Yeah.
But mostly it's not.
Yeah.
I feel bad that I interrupted your great creative flow and you had to come here and do the podcast.
It was yesterday.
What if it was going really great and they said, you got to do that Conan podcast?
We'd do it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Well, they have to say that now. They're here.
But then their fans would be like, what did we miss out on? By the way, have you played Bonnaroo? We've done all of them. You've done all of them.
Pretty much,
Sony, you were with me when I did Bonnaroo.
Yeah.
Oh, because they make...
years ago.
Yeah.
And it was...
What the hell?
Trench war. It was like trench warfare. It's all mud. It takes place in the summer in Tennessee.
You're in a tent.
And like what I noticed with your fans is they love to get their hands on you, and you're very generous about hugging people. I'm the same way. I don't mind hugging people. Huge mistake at Bonnaroo.
They're moist.
Nobody had a shower in a week.
Naked and moist, stinky.
There's a lot of naked, and disgusting people.
Yeah, but happy and high, probably. Like, they're just,
Well, you were high, too.
I was. But not too high. I would
send you out for an iced coffee, and you'd come back with, like, a goose. Here you go. Oh, it's not iced coffee.
Yeah, it's Bonnaroo.
Yeah, it was a good time. As you heard earlier in the podcast, Amazon Prime is the presenting sponsor of the show this month. Amazon Prime offers a range of services, including Prime Video, Amazon Music Prime, and of course Prime Fast free shipping. It's this collection that helps you pursue your passions. See how I said that? Passions.
I don't know why.
And gets more out of whatever you're into or getting into. Wait, I didn't mean to say it that way. Anyway, Prime helps you get more out of your interests, okay? If you're a jazz fan, See, no one answered there. No one's a jazz fan.
I was interested.
Yeah, sure. You might then watch a jazz movie or listen to some jazz on, so you're on either Prime Video or you're listening to Amazon Prime Music. You might then discover an Amazon Music jazz playlist, which might take you to, buy like a relevant book. I don't know. There are so many scenarios where Prime could change your life that for me to list all of them would be insane. So I'm not going to do that. Anyway, from shopping to streaming to saving, it's on Prime. Visit Amazon.com/Prime to get more out of whatever you're into. Support for Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend comes from Chevrolet, who wants to make everyone's drive electric. Did you know that Chevy's gone electric?
I done it.
Yeah, incredible. Chevy has always been there for you, so who better to take you into the next phase of electric vehicles? I call them EVs, that's me. It's a little thing I came up with. Yeah, no, but Chevy's going to be making electric vehicles for everyone, everywhere. With a charged up lineup that includes their most popular models. Some of the most beloved nameplates that Chevy has were redesigned, rebuilt from the ground up, taking them into an all-electric future. From SUVs to full-size pickup trucks. Such a wide array of electric vehicles. With nationwide dealer support and a growing network of public charging stations to help you live electric. Check out the stylish design of the Blazer EV. That's coming in summer 2023. Or enjoy the easy and fun to drive Bolt EV and Bolt EUV. That's more your speed, David, I think. Yeah, you like an easy to drive car. Yeah. So you're not a great driver, but for larger loads, here's my favorite name of a truck ever. For larger loads, experience the Silverado EV, starting fall 2023. It's a fully capable full-size truck. Shop smartly with Chevrolet's affordable people mover, the Equinox EV, with limited availability, starting fall 2023. So get in line now. Go to Chevrolet.com/Conan to learn more. You know, one of the things that I noticed was there's this difference between your fans who you love, like when they're telling you they love you, and especially these young women who you mean so much to, and they're going crazy and they love it. And then at a certain point, if it's hundreds of thousands of people, I would think it starts to get, it's overwhelming.
It's weirdly, in a way, underwhelming when there's more people.
Right.
So, like, I played my first stadiums over the summer. You know, I was playing markets that I hadn't played before, so I hadn't been there, so a lot of people wanted to go, and I didn't want to do, 5 shows in an arena, so might as well do a stadium or 2 stadiums or whatever. So I did a couple stadiums over the summer, and that was really exciting because I was like, ooh, I want to be in a stadium. It's so sick. It's so big. You're a fucking star. And then you're on the stage, and it's like you feel like you're just alone. And then there's it feels like there's a printed out wallpaper of thousands of people because they're so far away that there's no intimacy. I went to the Super Bowl the other day, and I was sitting in a box with Adele. I know. But
it's what people do.
But we were talking about it because she's...
I didn't see you there. That's weird.
You know the name drop thing where people say the first name of the person and then they say the last name? I was on Conan O'Brien. You know the name drop thing? Yeah. You can't do that with Adele.
No, you can't.
That's with Adele.
No, Adele is just Adele.
Yeah.
But anyway, we were talking about it because she's doing this Vegas residency, and she's just, not to out her, but she said she's having the time of her life, and she's like, I love that it's like a 4,000 cap room, and she's like, it's so nice, I feel like I can be there with them, and I feel intimate.
You outed her for having the time of her life.
I don't know, she might not want that to be known, I don't know.
I can't write a song about that. So you've got new battles that you didn't have 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm. I've been drowning in a pool of that recently. Just how do I evolve and what do I do? And I feel like for the last month I've been completely drowning. I feel like because dude, I achieved the kind of things before I even was 18 that are things that people work their entire lives for and maybe never even get, and one of the things that I achieved is one thing someone gets at the end of their life, and one other, and I got all of them, and I'm 21 now, and I'm at a point where I'm like, I've done it all. I'm like, what am I gonna do now, and where do I go from here, and who do I want to be? Because I've also only ever been teenage Billie Eilish, and so that's the person I thought I was, and then I got to a certain age and I was like, oh, that was teenage me. That's right. I thought I was being I was like, oh, I'm myself, and this is who I am, and it was who I was, but it was me as a teenager, and it's very strange to grow up and become an adult, and the person that you kind of finally figured out how to be in the perfect way that everybody thinks is who you are is yourself as a teenager. It's very jarring and hard to deal with.
I was really happy that your parents came. They are outside. Yeah, they're outside. I wouldn't let them in. Your father got in here twice, and I had him taken out, and I had someone shave his beard.
Why?
Yeah. I like it. It looked really cool, but I have that kind of power. You're in my building.
Okay, right.
So, no, he's, I think one of the things that you two have that is rare, especially because you're both so young when this all started, when this was happening, is to have your parents there and have them be really decent people who have their heads screwed on right. Just doesn't happen. I think 9 out of 10 times it doesn't happen. And that's a godsend. That's really special. I mean, I'm sure there were moments where you're like, why are they on the tour bus?
Very rarely. It's really fun.
I love
Really
having our
great.
parents out. Yeah, there was a moment over the summer where I was having like a I need to be an adult moment, and like I need to have space, and I need to have my own this and my own that, and I need to go on tour alone, and I need to do this and this and this alone. I want to be independent, and I do need that in a lot of ways, because you need that as you grow older. But then also now I'm like, well, I like my parents being around, and I like my mom coming and doing stuff with me.
Well, Billy moved away.
I did move away.
And I think when you don't live with your folks anymore,
It's nicer to. It makes you more grateful to do everything with them. So I'm like, now I just like I when I have a free night, I like go and hang out with my parents. That's the first thing I think of doing.
What is the pattern? I mean, I've seen it with my daughter, which is she was very smart, independent, cool, artistic, and then I could tell we were getting on her nerves, and then she went off to college, and she'd come back from college and she would ask us to do things that we know for a fact she can do on her own. She'd be like, could you pour me a glass of milk? Like, you mean the carton of milk that's right there in the pretty please? And you could tell like she just wanted to be back in that space.
This girl's drinking just regular milk.
No. She has a flask of scotch that she has on her that she pours into the milk.
Okay.
That's how we do it in
Makes
our
it
house.
even weirder.
Yeah.
This is we're talking whole milk, 2%. This is not even like an LA. Isn't she a Nepo baby? Isn't she on oat milk or almond milk or pistachio milk? You got this girl on 2%?
Yeah, 2%. No, I live in the Palisades, and I'm a celebrity, so I found a special 9% milk. It's got huge chunks of fat floating in
He
it.
drinks the 1% milk.
There you go. Got it.
No, I drink the 1% of the 1% milk. Only Adele gets that.
Sorry, guys. Go back to the suite.
No,
Think about your daughter.
Yeah, think about it. But no, I think
Hear all that.
I think that's normal to, that to me is almost defining not just your relationship with your parents, but the relationship you have with each other. Is it's a push me, pull you.
Right.
There's that mythical
Yeah.
Dr. Dolittle beast of, I don't want to fucking write a song. We got to write a song.
Yeah.
Fuck you. No.
So true.
And then you get this great music, but then you have to go back to that space.
Right. Very true.
Yeah, it's true.
Billy is the most comfortable I've ever seen anyone in a podcast.
It makes me want to get more comfortable. Can I? Okay, thank you.
Oh, lean back.
there
And
you
I'm
go.
wearing like basically pajamas too,
Well,
so I'm in a
I've
good
been
place.
thinking about doing it this whole time, and then I was like, but the mic doesn't move, and it does.
Yeah, Mike has so many joints.
The mic has a lot of joints.
Take it easy, Sona.
I might fall asleep.
Oh, you will.
Okay, all right.
I was once doing an interview with a very important journalist, and Sona was next to me in a restaurant, and you fell asleep in front of the journalist.
Yes,
How dare you do that in front of Matt Lauer?
Shout out to Matt Lauer, wherever you are.
No, we don't need to.
He's on that island in the Hamptons, right? That's just his house.
I had a call with Robert Rodriguez, who is incredibly, talented and incredible and legend, and I fell asleep on that call. On Zoom, too. And then I drooled on my bedsheet.
Was this pre or post you having COVID?
This was post me having COVID.
Yeah. Billy had COVID. Once she had COVID, she got very lethargic.
I got fucked
super
up.
lethargy since COVID. She's like
Never napped in my life
and then
before
now
COVID.
naps all the
Now
time.
I be napping.
That's her COVID story.
But I was doing a Zoom. He was pitching me this whole idea because we were gonna do this.
He's pitching you?
He was
He's
pitching
a
me.
big deal.
He was pitching me because we were gonna shoot this movie for.
Oh, like you even remember what he said.
Is it the one you did, or is it
It was
different?
it was the Hollywood Bowl.
Yeah, we did.
We did this Hollywood Bowl film of the album, whatever, and he was pitching me the ideas, and I was I was fully I had my phone propped up, and I was laying on my pillow. It wasn't like I was sitting, and I accidentally fell asleep. I was like fully on my blanket, on my pillow, like this, watching. Fell asleep, woke up, drool all over my pillow.
So gross.
I took a screenshot.
Did he know, or...
Oh yeah, he was talking to me.
Yeah, but sometimes in our industry, people are so into their pitch, they don't notice that you've fallen asleep,
I wish.
He was like, I just had the
No,
greatest
dude.
meeting. Billie Eilish!
She didn't say anything. The
She
whole
was so
time.
awed by my idea. Yeah.
Jaw dropping. Yeah.
And at the end, when I said, are you going to do it? She went,
She was salivating for it.
yeah, she was salivating. She was so happy. How do you deal with, there was a moment I saw that where you're worried about a song and you said, I'm not sure I'm comfortable with the song and the internet's going to hate me. And I remembered when I heard that line, I thought, I got to talk to them about that.
It's true.
The last thing I would ever do in the world is type in, what do people think of Conan O'Brien? Because I would read things that would make my face fall off. And why would I do that?
He looks like a guy whose face could fall off.
My face is barely hanging on, Phineas.
That's what they're saying?
Phineas, yeah. It's comedy. It's okay. I like some of the stuff on YouTube,
But he kind of has a face that looks like it might fall off.
Is it actually a
It's like the
mask?
staples are giving way.
And that would invariably make your face fall off.
Yeah.
I know what moment he's talking about. He's talking about
Yeah,
when you're
No
hitting
Time
the
to Die.
belt. Yeah.
Yeah. Which was interesting to think about and to rewatch that scene because I remember at that point in my life my voice was maturing in a way I had never experienced before, and I was able to sing in a lot of ways that I hadn't ever before, and more like I was able to open the door to singing like that. It was more like I didn't know if I could, but I was trying to, and I hadn't, and it was scary. I mean, it was like outside of the my comfort zone, and it's just interesting to look back now because my voice is completely changed since then. It's just it's very sweet and touching to me thinking about that.
It's a vulnerable moment, and I completely understand everything behind. I understand 1,000% what you're talking about, and then at the same time, I think the internet. I mean, your generation has only grown up with it. We don't know what it does yet, but I can tell you this: checking it out is not going to help the creative process.
No, I know. I don't look at it anymore. I've deleted it all off my phone, which is such a huge deal for me. Cause, dude, you didn't have the internet to grow up with, right? For me, it was a big part of, and not my childhood. I wasn't an iPad baby, thank God. But honestly, I feel like I grew up in the perfect time of the internet where it wasn't so internet-y that I didn't have a childhood. I really had such a childhood, and I was doing stuff all the time. And it was computers and games on computers, but barely, And then it was
Yeah, we were outside.
we were doing stuff. And then when I became, a preteen, there was iPhones, and then there was, I got a little older, and there was all of what has become. But then being a preteen and a teenager on the internet, those were my people. I was one of them. I was one of those people on the internet. And then within myself, feel like nothing changed. But suddenly I'm doing what I've always done and looking at the internet because I am an internet person, kid. And not meaning I'm an influencer. I'm a person that goes on the internet. That's all I mean by that. And to change nothing about the person I am and the life that I live, and to just keep doing what I do over the years, and slowly the videos that I'm watching and things that I see on the internet are about me.
Yeah.
I'm ooh, stinky. I don't like that. And it's about how I'm a video came up. I was with my boyfriend the other day and we were sitting there and this video came up and it was Billie Eilish is a horrible person.
Jesus.
And then it was like a very serious video of why, and the person seemed like very, you know, like in the right headspace, and they were saying all these things,
They were
and I was like,
convincing you.
honestly, and I was like, geez, wow, like,
These are good points.
it's just funny. I'm just like, wow, it's just such a crazy reality that I live in. And like, that's my face. Oh, that's my face. Oh, that's my name. Oh, that's me. Oh, interesting. Okay, all right. And it's these definitive statements that they know are right. Somehow they know. Somebody told the God came down and said, this is the truth about Billy, and you know it for a fact. And you don't know her, but you know that this is the truth, and you have to tell everybody about it. And then everyone's gonna believe it. And that's the other thing that freaks me out about the internet is how gullible it makes you, and it makes me, anything I read on the internet I believe.
Right.
Me. And I know for a fact that that's stupid and I shouldn't do that because I have proof that it's not all true. It's almost none of it's true. And it's like little things, like small white lies that go over everybody's heads, but everyone believes. Like, you know, there'll be a photo of me somewhere at the gym, and then I'll see paparazzi photos of me there, and that's what I was doing. And it says, like, Billie Eilish in Hollywood going to a studio to work on her new album. And that's such a small lie, but I'm like,
Right.
why would you even need to lie about that?
Yeah.
It just is very strange, and then it makes me like, wow, how much was a lie that I was reading when I was looking at the internet?
Now, this is why I never go to the gym.
Right. But they probably thought you were going today.
Yeah.
Like he's going to the gym.
And the times I have gone to the gym, they do say Conan's working on his new album. And they're like, but no, but I totally, you get to see firsthand, both of you, how skewed that reality is. Here's the thing about the internet. It's anonymous, and they don't think you're seeing it.
Right, that's the problem.
And it's also because you're so freaking popular, it is a kind of like a nice provocative thing to do. The point is, if magically I could bring that person in here right now,
Yep.
that is not how they would talk to you.
Well, also, if they just took the time to like have a conversation with me, we'd get along. That's the
Of
part
course
that
you would.
freaks me out so much.
And I think a lot of the people, a lot of trolls, or a lot of people that are, you know, sort of lighting fires on the internet, I always think if you could go to their house and just ring the bell and they answered and you have it and talk to them, they would say, oh, yeah, would you want to come in? Would you like, I have tea if you want tea. Oh, that, yeah, I mean, anyway, it's so nice to meet you.
Yeah,
That's what they wouldn't
Yeah,
say
can
that
I-
to your face.
No, of course not.
And I don't even think they really would believe it.
Well, I think that's just the proof of like that we don't seem like people, and I know that's like the most common thing anybody says, but it's really the truth. Like, I am not viewed as just a person at all to those people, and they think that why would I be looking at the internet? And also, if I was, why would it affect me? I have everything, which, you know, is true to an extent. And like, you know, I remember there was a period of time where hashtag Billie Eilish is fat was the #1 trending on Twitter, and which was great. Me and Phineas had a good laugh over
I'm
that.
sorry.
And there were all these.
It's so extreme.
But it's also just...
It's not subtle at all.
Yeah.
It's not even a joke.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
not even like a play on words or anything. It's not even
Yeah.
clever.
A,
No
there's no remote truth to it. B, it's not something that someone crafted.
Well, what I was gonna say though, that the person who like started it and was kind of the one instigating all of it, and it was this person that was like making these edits of me where I looked. Do you remember those edits? Where I looked really.
They're like drawings.
They were drawings of me just to make me look really bad, and it was horribly mean shit, like mean. And I remember it. They like these tweets and everything. It was like hundreds of thousands of likes and responses and whatever. And I remember my little thumbs, my little eyes just looked through all of that stuff, and that's why I had to get off recently. But because I'm a fucking internet kid, I look through everything. I always have since way before anybody knew my name.
Right.
I used to look at the drama of what was going on and look up through all the comments and look at all the responses, and like then when it's about me, of course I'm gonna do that even more so. And I remember looking. Somebody said like, dude, you're gonna make her, you know, suicidal, have an eating disorder, like you're gonna fuck her up. And he was like, please, why would she give a fuck? This wouldn't affect her at all.
No, it was like as if she's gonna see this.
Yeah,
It was,
if she would never even, she's never gonna see any of this
She lives
stuff.
in a castle made of Grammys.
100%.
It goes thousands of feet into the air.
I just don't know what they think we're doing. I don't
It would
know.
be so funny if you won another Grammy and you were like, only 20 to go. So I filled the final.
Beyonce probably could.
Yeah. Smelts them all down.
It's like the Game of Thrones. It's made of swords.
The iron
Someone welding a bunch of Grammys together.
The Grammy throne.
And then driving around in it, putting a motor in it. Oh, this? Oh, that's my 45 Grammys. Whatever. Just the ultimate humble brag.
So good.
Parked my Grammy car. Speaking of cars, I don't want to forget, but I love that you have that. Is it a Dodge Charger?
Challenger.
Oh, it's the Challenger. Love those cars.
Yeah, they're nice.
Matte black.
They're nice.
And then we're talking just before we started this recording, and I find out that your dad trashed it.
He did. He did. I was,
He's going to be so mad because he very well...
I mean, it wasn't his fault.
It was not his fault, or so he says.
Correct. We were in New York. I was hosting SNL last 2 Decembers ago. You know, after we came back, I'd been home for like days, and my dad sits me down and he goes, so, I didn't want to tell you this when you were, you know, in New York, because I just didn't want to bum you out, but, you know, when you guys were gone, I was home alone, and I wanted to go to this show, and I used your car, and I didn't ask you because you were busy, I didn't want to bother you, but I just thought it'd be fine, so I just used your car, and I drove it to go see the show, because I was late, and I didn't have my keys, and something, and he was going through a light, and a car was turning left, and smashed into my car, and got a nice, classic, good old dent on
Do you know what I love about this? It's total role reversal.
Yeah.
I know.
Because you're away at work. I got to go out of town to go to work.
Dad, I used your car, and I crashed
Your dad is like, while you were gone at work, I used your car. Where were you going? To a rock and roll show? I told you not to go to those.
Totally true.
I also had a party in the house.
But like all the other little dings on the car, like that's the first car I ever had, and I pretty much learned to drive in that car, and so and also like having that nice car with my parents and my brothers' tiny little houses and tiny little driveways, and learning to park in a driveway, I bonked and clonked into lots of walls.
Yeah.
When I was 16, learning to do it.
You don't have to answer the question if you don't want. Do you have some car that you drive seldom that's hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars?
What, do you want to answer that for me?
No, he does not. You don't have any cool
Famously,
cars.
for at least half of my career, I drove a 1992 Ford Taurus.
He still has it.
Awesome.
And I still have it.
We still get it registered.
And fans ask me how the Taurus is doing.
Yes, I love it.
One of my great achievements was tricking Brad Pitt. He was on the show, and I tricked him into shooting a segment where he drove it, and he's, of course, amazing at everything, so he got in it and peeled out and burned the clutch. And I refused to get it fixed because I was like, that clutch was burned by Brad Pitt.
That's sick.
And then, I have a Toyota Tacoma downstairs.
Sick. I like this answer because to me, my friend of mine, Anton, one time said, we were talking about fancy cars, and he was like, I'm rough on my cars. And I remember thinking like, yeah, me too. You know what I mean? Like, I eat food in them and shit. Like, I feel like the kind of it's like sneakerheads who have spotless
I kind of
white
agree.
sneakers.
It's
I'm
like
like, where are you not walking? You know what I mean?
It can get that way too with gear, like guitars.
Yeah.
I have a lot of guitars.
Yeah. Our dad did like handyman work a lot, our childhood, to pay the bills. And one of the guys that he was a handyman for was a concert violinist. And the guy played a Stradivarius violin. And my dad talked to him one day, and he was like literally fixing the guy's shelf or whatever. And he was like, so the Strat is the one you play? And the guy was like, oh, you have to, or it doesn't.
Yes.
It falls apart. You have to keep playing.
You have to play it, yeah.
Which I think, as a philosophy, is like the way that you should be with everything in life.
You don't need to preserve stuff. You should use it and like get joy out of stuff.
Is there an indulgence that you guys have like dabbled in that you're like, okay, we've had all this success, we've worked really hard, I'm getting myself a Falcon,
A bird.
yeah. Phineas, what's up? It's my Falcon. I've worked hard.
Well, Phineas reverted into old rich white guy mode and built a pickleball court.
I do have a pickleball court, yeah. Wow. That hasn't made any of my music better.
Sure hasn't.
And you have robots built that you can play with.
Yeah.
But no, I feel like there hasn't been like a big, purchase, I feel like. Right? I'm about to get a new car, actually.
You know what? I have a feeling they're going to send it to you for free now.
Yeah, I have a
'Cause
feeling
that's
they're
the-
not.
That's the trust me, I'm constantly mentioning.
Who do you think she is, Will Arnett?
Wait, why would they send him free cars?
He does the voiceover for all the
voices of-
commercials.
Oh,
For
of
what?
course he fucking
GMC
does.
trucks? Is that what he does?
I mean, he's got that perfect Bojack voice.
Yeah.
He does one line and then Bateman does another line. They both do a line of cars.
But also, it's so funny because he's changing his voice too. I know, and so when I hear Will doing those commercials, he's like, it accelerates, you know,
does
it
sound
goes
like
1 to 40, and I'm thinking that's not quite how Will talks. Yeah,
I wish I had Will's voice.
No.
Imagine how cool no.
Yeah, that's what
I
you
just
should do.
pulled up and that's how I spoke.
If only you had if only you had a different voice, Billie Eilish.
But then I sang like me.
Yeah, she
What if
sings
I
like her,
talk
and
like
she gets
him
into
and
the-
I sang like me?
Great.
That's so funny.
That would be great if you sang, you did a whole concert as you, and then it was over, and you're like, what did you guys think?
Well, that's Phoebe Bridgers-Hart. That's kind of how she rolls.
She does have a very cool speaking voice.
She does.
Yeah.
I get it. We're in the same boat. My voice is Will Arnett. Anyway.
Yeah, no real indulgences that we have. I have a couple expensive guitars. Like I was buying like the cheapest guitars I could as a kid.
Yeah.
And
What's the guitar that you have that's
Well-
the first one that you get in the fire?
I have a Martin from like the 40s.
Come on. What about your little Coco guitar?
Well, that might be the one I get first. We were on tour in 2019 in the summer. It was like June 2019. Billy's album had come out and it was doing great. It was like the first time I went to a guitar store with any funds ever in my life. And I was like, this is crazy. I can kind of get whatever I want. And I remember going in and I was at the Guitar Center in Boston right by Berklee College of Music. So every inch of the store was 19-year-old kids going shredding.
Yeah.
And I was so kind of pea shy in the Guitar Center.
Sure.
I was like, I'm not going to sit down and play a G. Like, so embarrassing.
Right.
And so I just eyeballed it, and there was a toy guitar. There was a
Tiny little.
Disney Cordova Coco guitar, that wonderful movie,
Yeah.
that for $70 or something. And it was nylon string, and I was like, well, it's small enough that I'll sit in the lounge on the bus, and I can have it in my arms and have people next to me, not like be taking up too much room.
Yeah.
And I bought it, and like I remember the clerk being like ringing me up, and I was like, "Do you guys sell a case for this?" And he was like, "No, idiot.
How about insurance?
You're just supposed to break it."
But then we like immediately
Yeah.
wrote Happier Than Ever
Yeah.
and then recorded
Exactly.
it with that guitar.
Yeah.
And so till then.
Oh, that's the guitar. on Happy
Well,
Than
I
Ever.
was gonna say that since then, to my what would you call it?
I don't know.
To my annoyance.
Oh, everyone thinks it's a ukulele.
Everyone thinks it's a ukulele
'Cause it's
because
nylon
it's a
string.
baby. It's a big, little sweet tiny guitar.
Is it a 6-string then?
It's a
With
6-string.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a regular ass guitar. It's just.
It does sound tinny like a
But so
ukulele.
we do a lot of things where they're like, the ukulele on Happier Than Ever is amazing, and it really bothers me. That's
It's a
all.
toy
I love
guitar.
that. I
It's a
really
Coco
love that
guitar.
song.
But it's a really easy. It's a kid's guitar, so it's so easy to play.
Yeah, it's really
and to your
nice.
point about guitars that have to be played, it's the easiest. I remember you picked it up a couple weeks ago, and you were like, "This is so easy
Oh
to
yeah,
play."
I mean it's made for a kid.
it's
Literally,
awesome.
it's like what you would get for a kid if they wanted to learn how to
My
play.
favorite guitar move of